Good morning students, welcome to the first class of education. Hope you are safe and in good health. Today our part is to discuss the contribution of Mahatma Gandhi to the field of education. The first unit, first bit of your syllabus. Mahatma Gandhi, Bapu, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, Gandhiji. This is a very dear name to our heart. We know Gandhiji as the father of nation. We read Gandhiji as a versatile political philosopher, a statesman, with his Swadeshi movement, with civil disobedience movement, with Quit India movement. We worshipped Gandhiji as the follower of truth and non-violence. We worshipped him as the preacher of peace. We loved Gandhiji as the harbinger of freedom struggle. And we lived Gandhiji in all of our good deeds, in all of our honest deeds. But students, what we do not know is Gandhiji as an educationist? This part, Gandhiji as an educationist, is comparatively a less discussed area. But students, you will be surprised to know that with his unique educational philosophy, Gandhiji has changed the whole gamut of the then education system. So, we are really proud, we are privileged that we are going to discuss that aspect of Gandhiji's personality today. So, before going to his educational philosophy, now we have to deal with his life philosophy first, because the entire of his educational philosophy is nothing but the reflection of his life philosophy. So, we have to deal with his life philosophy first. Okay, let us start with that. The first one is truth and non-violence. We know Gandhiji as Satya or Ahinsar Pujari. According to him, truth is the synonym of God. To him, my religion is based on truth and non-violence. I have no other God to serve but truth. So, truth is the synonym of God. Truth is God, Satya hi Shiva hai. Truth as God is self-sustained, is self-evident. So, to him, truth is the highest value, the highest virtue of life. Truth is the ultimate aim to be achieved by us. Yes, if truth is the ultimate aim, then how to achieve it? Gandhiji suggested non-violence is the means. Non-violence is the means to achieve the end of truth. What is non-violence then? Non-violence, it has many definitions, but to Gandhiji, non-violence is tolerating all the differences. It is tolerating all the differences. You know, we are living in a world of differences. There is difference in caste, color, creed, community, in our ideas, in our philosophy, in our values. But we have to tolerate that. We have to live with those differences. And as you know, this feeling of difference, the sense of difference, not tolerating difference, is the origin of all violence. So, Gandhiji was of opinion that you have to tolerate these differences. A Hindu has to tolerate the Islam, the Zoroastrian. The Brahmin has to tolerate the Sudra has to tolerate the Kshatriya. And this is the way by which you can achieve truth. Another attribute Gandhiji attached with truth, with non-violence, is forgiveness. When one is doing some ill, you should not in response to another ill, rather you have to forgive. Who will forgive? The weak cannot forgive. The weak cannot forgive because it is a compulsion on his part to bear that. But a strong, who is capable of, who is able to punish, if he is forgiving, then it is the true sense of non-violence. He is following the path of non-violence. So, Gandhiji said non-violence or forgiveness is an attribute which is attached to the strong. There is a saying in our Odia Bhagavat, Dandiva Sakti Jara Thai Se Puni Khyama Acharai. if a man who is capable of punishing, if he is forgiving, then he is following the path of non-violence. So, these two things, forgiveness and tolerance, these two attributes are attached with non-violence, and if you are following the path of non-violence in every walk of your life, in your studies, in sports, in your household activities, in your profession, then students, no doubt you will achieve the ultimate reality, the ultimate goal of life, that is truth. And according to him, truth and non-violence are interrelated and they are complementary to each other. Here there are some definitions or some sayings of Gandhiji on truth and non-violence. You can find it somewhere at Google or something else, or you can write it down now. Okay. Now, we have to switch to the second philosophy of his life. This is Satyagraha. Satyagraha, agraha in Satya, love and interest in truth. We know Gandhiji as a true Satyagrahi, and according to Gandhiji, it is another means to find truth, to achieve truth. The philosophy of life is somehow central to his life philosophy, and Gandhiji was of opinion that it is Satyagraha is the most powerful, the strongest, the undefeatable weapon with us. With this, we can achieve anything we desire. And being the follower of Vedanta, being a Vedantist, Gandhiji was believing in Satyanarka Pratipati Satyana Payate Sasi. Anything you desired, you can achieve by the help of, by using this weapon Satyagraha. And Gandhiji has proved it in his freedom movement, and he has gifted us independence by using this weapon only. Here you have to remember one thing, that truth, non-violence and Satyagraha, they go hand in hand, and Gandhiji used this for the entire of his life. So, Satyagraha constitute the second philosophy of Gandhiji's life. Then the third one is dignity of labor. It is written in the fourth point. I will discuss it first because it will have some derivation for the third one. So, the next is dignity of labor. It is love for labor, respect for labor, love for labor and respect for labor, love for work and respect for work. Gandhiji was of opinion that work is again synonym of God. Students, you must have heard that story of Gandhiji's aunt, her stay at Sabarmati ashram. On a particular day, her aunt was not given any food. She was not served any food because she had not done any work on that particular day. So, without work, one will not be given any food. No work, no food was the principle of Gandhian philosophy. What is a work then? What is a work? What is labor? Anything you are doing, suppose one is painting, one is farming, one is sweeping the road, one is flying an aircraft, everything is work. The work of a doctor is a work, the work of an engineer is also a work. But Gandhiji said, can anything be labeled as work? Suppose one is simply scribbling on the wall, then can we label it as work? No, anything cannot be labeled as work, but work is attached with productivity. If work has some value, if work has some utilitarian value, if it is productive, if it is beneficial for the society, then only it will be labeled as work. Otherwise, work is work, may it be manual or may it be intellectual. Gandhiji equalized these two types of work, that is intellectual work and manual work. No work is inferior or superior to the other. This is the true definition of dignity of labor. no work is superior or inferior to the other. A hospital cannot run without the service of the doctor, the intellectual labor is needed. The hospital again cannot be run without the service of the sweeper, the manual work, the manual labor is needed. So, Gandhiji had not found any difference between manual work and intellectual work, but in his personal life Gandhiji preferred manual work, physical work over intellectual work. Why? Why so? Because there are two logics behind this, why he preferred manual work or manual labor over intellectual labor. The first one is, India at that time was a poor country having so many illiterate people, so Gandhiji was of opinion that all of the Indians cannot be involved or indulged in intellectual work. Intellectual work may not be done with so perfection or so effectively by them, but all can be engaged in some physical work or some physical labor or manual labor. Anyway, one has to do work. Work is the basic necessity of life. To live a dignified life, to live a respectful life, one has to do some work. Again, being a Vedantist, Gandhiji was believing in niyata kuru karmatvam, the saying of Gita, every time you have to do some work, and for Indians he suggested, as I have said, that it must be the manual work or physical work. Remember students, Gandhiji again suggested that the traditional Indian occupations must be the base of manual work or the physical work. Why so? Here comes the second logic, why he preferred manual work over intellectual work. Now, we will go to the previous one. It was the second logic constitute our next life philosophy of Gandhiji, that is a broader vision of him. It is establishment of a new social order, establishment of a new social order. What is a new social order? Gandhiji dreamt a society which is classless, which is casteless. It is a sort of utopian society. It is a the dream concept of Ramarajya, the dream concept of Ramarajya, where there will not be no class, no caste, there will not be any exploitation, there will not be any non-violence. How it will be achieved? How this sort of new social order can be established by manual labor or physical labor? Again, that is a question. Gandhiji responded it to in this way, that when people will be engaged in the manual work which is based on the traditional Indian occupation, then they will depend on each other. They will depend on each other. They will earn money, their livelihood by being engaged in the traditional Indian occupation. Students, you think of any occupation, just suppose farming. Can a farmer hold his occupation without depending on the carpenter? No, he cannot, because he is in need of a plough. And can a carpenter hold his occupation without the help of, without depending on the ironsmith? Again, no. So, the traditional Indian occupations are so devised that each occupation is dependent on the other, each occupation has to keep relation with the other for its existence, to hold it. So, when every person in India will be involved in the traditional Indian occupation, the physical labor, first thing they will earn money, they will be independent, India will be a self-sufficient country, and the Indian people will not starve. They will earn their livelihood, they will manage their stomach, they will manage to earn their food, clothing and shelter. And second thing is, they will depend on each other. When they will depend on each other, there will be cooperation among them. And if there will be cooperation, then there will be fellow feeling among them. So, the ill feeling the feeling of difference will not be there. So, though there will be caste difference, but this caste difference will be the strength of the people, strength of Indians, but it will not be the weakness of the society. So, this will establish a new social order, and the earning, the income from the traditional Indian occupations, there will not be a big gap between or among the different occupation holders. There will not be a big gap, they will earn near to equal amount of money. So, what will happen? There will not be any class difference. So, by this Gandhiji will fulfill his dream society. He wanted to establish, that is, a classless and a casteless society. So, there will be equality, there will be non-violence, there will be justice. When all will cooperate each other, there will not be any exploitation. So, a society without exploitation and injustice, a society with non-violence, harmony and equality, and a society where everyone will earn, the last one, the last man even will enjoy the minimum basic opportunity of life, which you all know as Sarvodaya, the concept of Sarvodaya. What is this Sarvodaya? Gandhiji has borrowed this, has got this concept of Sarvodaya from a legendary book, that is Unto This Last. If you will get a chance, then go through this book. This is the book which has changed the whole life of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, and Gandhiji afterwards became Mahatma. So, from this book he got the idea of Sarvodaya, which is based on the traditional Indian occupations, by which Gandhiji dreamed to establish a new social order, a classless and casteless society. This constitute the next philosophy of his life. As we know, Gandhiji was every time of saying that love is the most powerful way, the best way to realize God. Love is the way of realizing God. To love man is to love God. To serve man is to serve God. Manav seva hi Madhav seva. But here one thing Gandhiji added, that man must be loved as a man. Man must be loved as a man. Man should not be loved because he belongs to a particular caste or a particular community. A Hindu should not love a man because he is a Hindu, or a Brahmin should not love a man because he is Brahmin. Rather, man should be loved as a man, as a universal man. Man should not be loved on the basis of his caste, color, creed and community, and man should not again be deprived of love on the basis of caste, color, creed and community. So, here again I will remind you that being a Vedantist, Gandhiji was supporting, was believing in the saying of Upanishad, Shrunyantu Vishwe Amrutasya Putra. Shrunyantu Vishwe Amrutasya Putra, we all are the sons and daughters of that Almighty, the Super Soul. In that way, we are brothers and sisters. So, we have to love each other as the brothers and sisters, not as Hindu, not as Islam, or not as Brahmin, or not as Shudra. So, this is the concept of love for universal humanity. Gandhiji was believing in God fatherhood and man brotherhood. Believing in this, man has to love man. This constituted the fifth philosophy of Gandhiji. Then the next one is love for nation. Love for nation, this is a self-proved concept. Gandhiji was a man of patriotism, Gandhiji was a man of nationalism, Gandhiji was a lover of nation, and Gandhiji had sacrificed all his career for the nation. Here one thing, only the unique thing that I want to say you, that Gandhiji was never considering nation or the country as a piece of land only. Gandhiji was considering, he ever considered the nation as a living entity. He considered the nation as a living entity. That is why not only for the physical independence of India, but also he worked for the emotional and spiritual independence of India. Why? Because he was considering India, the nation, as a living entity. He worked for the revival of culture and tradition of India. He worked for awakening the spirituality among the Indians, and again, since he was considering India or the nation as a living entity, so he worked for the internal growth of India. That is why he worked for abolition of the caste system and other blind beliefs and taboos from the society, and he worked to achieve the spiritual enlightenment by the people. So, in this way Gandhiji was a lover of nation, and here another thing that Gandhiji was of opinion that, but nationalism should not be so narrow. Nationalism should not be so narrow that it will obstacle the internationalism. Being a great nationalist, being a patriot, believing in patriotism, still Gandhiji was a man of international thought. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the whole world is a family, that was still the philosophy of Gandhiji. So, being a lover of nation, he was still in the path of internationalism. This constitutes the sixth life philosophy of Gandhiji. Then the next one is faith in God. What is God? And what is spiritualism? When we go to the temple, when we worship the idol in the temple, we say that we are the spiritual persons. But according to Gandhiji, this is not spiritualism. This is not true spiritualism. True spiritualism or the true God is the supreme truth. True spiritualism is realization of the supreme truth, and true God, as we already have discussed, is truth itself. And as truth is one, it is a whole, it is omnipotent, it is self-evident. So, like the God, God is omnipotent, He is the whole, He is one. God cannot be divisible, God cannot be divided on the basis of religion. You cannot say Hindu's God, you cannot say Zoroastrian's God, or you cannot say Islam's God. Yes, Gandhiji, again being a Vedantist, was believing in Advaita Brahma. Advaita Brahma, Eka Brahman, Dvayam Nasti. Ditya Brahma Nahanti. There is no second God. Yes, you can worship God in any form. You can worship God in any name, according to your faith, on the basis of your religion, on the basis of your own belief. You can worship God in any name, in any form. You can name Him as Ram or Krishna, you can name Him as Jesus or Allah, but you cannot believe in, you cannot have the faith in Him as a divisible concept. Brahma or the super soul cannot be divisible. You can only worship Him in different forms, because God is manifested in many forms, in every forms. God is manifested in all visible and non-visible things, and God as the Paramatman, as the super soul, He is dwelling in every Atman or in every man. So, man according to his own belief, own faith, he can worship God in many names and many ways, in many forms, but God should be believed as omnipotent, as one, as whole, Advaita Brahma. And so far as Gandhiji's own word is concerned, he said, to me, God is truth, God is love, God is morality, God is benevolence. God is not something which is worshipped in the temple only. You can find Him in every Atman, in every man, where truth is there, where love is there, where morality is there, and when where benevolence is there, God is existing there. This is the broader vision of Gandhiji regarding God. So, in true sense he was a follower of spiritualism. So, this is the last but not the least life philosophy of Gandhiji. We have discussed some of his philosophies in which he was believing in, and the value of his life was based on these philosophies. As at the initial phase we have discussed that his life philosophy is reflected and portrayed in his educational philosophy. Now, we will see how these philosophies of life are reflected in his educational philosophy. So, now we will switch to the next part of contribution of Gandhiji to the field of education. Now, we will deal with his educational philosophy specifically. Here, I just want to give you some hint on the prevailing education system of that time. Students, we are talking of 1930s when Gandhiji had given his educational thought, and during this period India was under British rule, and missionary system of education was prevailing at that time, and this missionary system was so expensive, it was so expensive that it was not accessible to all. The common, the poor Indian mass could not access the missionary education because of its high cost. This was a major problem with the prevailing education of that time. And another problem with missionary education was this education was consisting of the European knowledge, the European culture, their tradition, the European science and technology, the Indian knowledge, the Indian wisdom, the Indian art and literature. These things were neglected seriously in the missionary education, and Gandhiji was thinking of an alternative to the missionary education by which all Indians can avail education, all the common Indians they can avail education, and Indian culture, tradition, Indian knowledge and wisdom we can provide through the system of education. That was the aim of Gandhiji, for which he suggested or he contributed to the field of education in this way. So, with this background we will proceed to the educational philosophy of Gandhiji. The first one is free and compulsory education for all. As we have said that education was the privilege of a chosen few. Education was a privilege of a chosen few, only the rich people, the elite group and those who were serving the British government. Now, Gandhiji was of opinion that education should not be the privilege of a chosen few, rather education should be accessible to all, education for all must avail education, and for this he attached the word compulsory education for all. Education must be a compulsory concept for all, irrespective of his caste, color, creed, community, gender, language, religion and especially the socio-economic status, the economic class. Irrespective of one's class, caste and other differences, all have the right to avail education. And if education will be a compulsory concept of all, then how to provide it? If education again will be expensive, then all cannot avail it. So, education must not be expensive. Here Gandhiji said, if the students will not have to give any money, they will not have to spend any money towards education, then they will go to the school. The parents will send their children to the school. So, Gandhiji was of opinion that this compulsory education will be free. It will be free. Free means what? Free education means no fees will be collected from the students towards the cost of education, or the students will not spend a pie even towards the expense of education. How it will be made possible? How education will be free? Education has its own cost. The system of education will run and the teachers will take their salary. The infrastructural materials is needed, and the system will need the teaching learning materials. So, how without money, if no money, no fees will be collected from the students, how the system will run? So, Gandhiji he had given the second philosophy in the response of this question. How it will be made possible? If education will be made self-sufficient, if education will be made self-sufficient, then it will bear its own cost, it will bear its own expenses. So, the students will not have to pay any money towards the expenses or cost of education. So, here one thing he said that how we will make education system self-sufficient. If the system of education will be shifted from knowledge based education to skill based education. If it will be it will be shifted from the knowledge based education to the skill based education. Then students will develop some skill, and by using that skill they will earn some money. They will earn some money and education will be self sufficient. How it will be again be made possible? Then comes the third educational philosophy. It is craft centered education. How we will shift the knowledge based education to a skill based education by making education craft centered, by making education craft centered. This is the pivotal educational philosophy of Gandhiji, craft centered education. So, what is a craft? How education will be made skill based? Through craft. Craft according to Gandhiji is any sort of manual work. It is any sort of manual work having productive value done without or with less support of machine. It is already written here, any sort of manual work or physical work having productive value done without the support of machine or done with less support of machine. What is meant by this? So, craft basically is a manual work or a physical work. It is a manual work or a physical work, no use of machine will be there, or if machine will be used, then a less support of machine will take. But can all the physical works, as we already have discussed, be labeled as craft again? Again that the example, if we are scribbling on the wall, it is a manual work, we are not using any machine in this work, but can you label it as craft? No, it cannot be. So, craft is, or it must have some value, some productive value, it must be productive, it must have some utilitarian value. So, here and I think you are well versed with this word craft in your craft mela, in the Palisri mela or in the Ormas fairs, you know this the word craft. It includes all the traditional Indian occupations, the traditional physical works, the artisans like spinning, weaving, pottery, metal work, bamboo work, tailoring, agriculture, carpentry. Gandhiji suggested these type of Indian occupations, the parental occupations, the traditional Indian occupations and the artisans to be considered, to be taken into consideration in the system of education as craft. and education will be craft centered, means the whole system of education, the entire curriculum will center around a craft or a number of crafts. And we will deal with this concept craft centered education afterwards. We will go to the detail of this. Here only I have to mention some features of craft as suggested by Gandhiji. First thing, we already have discussed that the craft must have productive value. The craft must have productive value, and the second thing, that craft must be based on the traditional Indian occupations. This also we have discussed. The next thing is, when we are talking of making education system self supporting, so somewhere we are talking of money, somewhere we are talking of generating some money from the craft. So, how money will be generated from craft? Money at that time will be generated through craft if the craft will be marketable, if the craft will be marketable, if we will sell the craft in the local market and we will earn some money from that. So, Gandhiji attached another feature, another characteristic to this craft, that is craft must be marketable along with its productivity nature and along with it must be the traditional Indian, it must base on the traditional Indian occupation. So, these are the 3 points. It must be based on the traditional Indian occupation, it must be productive and it must be marketable. What is next? How craft will be selected? The next is craft must be based on the local product. Craft must be based on the local product. Why this? Because if the ingredient, the raw material for the preparation of the craft will not be available in the locality, then the entire system will face a big failure only. So, craft must be based on the local product. Just suppose if you will take the example of Assam, bamboo is plentifully available there. So, at that place the schools may select the bamboo work as the base of craft, or suppose in western Odisha sal leaves are plentifully available. So, they can use the sal leaves as the raw material or the ingredient of the craft. So, in this way again we will discuss it further or we will go to the detail of it. Just we will touch the points how it will be selected. So, it must be based on the local product. Then what is the next? Craft must fulfill the local need. Again the same thing, if we want to generate some money by selling the craft in the local market, then it must have the characteristic of fulfilling the needs of the local people. If we will not be able to fulfill the needs of the local people, why or who will purchase it? So, if we want to generate some money from the craft by selling it, then it must have the capacity to fulfill the local need. In a particular place where the brass pots are made, at that place if you will go for clay pottery, then it will not work. It will not work. So, when selecting the craft, Gandhiji was of opinion that the craft must be based on traditional Indian occupation, it must have productive value, it must be marketable and it must be based on the local product and it must have the capacity to fulfill the local need. This is how craft will be selected. Education through mother tongue. Education through mother tongue, or Gandhiji was of opinion that here an interesting thing I want to share with you, that Gandhiji was every time was of opinion that we have to combine the primary and secondary education to one. We have to combine primary and secondary education to one. And this combined system will be called as matriculation, which will be minus English. He called his system as matriculation minus English. And here is the logic of that concept. Mother tongue was given utmost importance in Gandhian system of education. Why? Gandhiji opted for, Gandhiji suggested mother tongue to be the lingua franca of education, to be the medium of instruction in the entire education system, because use of a vernacular language or use of mother tongue will make the students understand the concept in a more better way, in a more clear way. The conceptual clarity will be better by using this language, mother tongue, as the medium of instruction. Gandhiji once was of opinion that you can listen English, you can listen English, you can speak English, you can speak English, you can read English, you can write English, you can understand English, but one thing you cannot do through English, that is you cannot think in English, you cannot think in English. When one is saying that this is a tree, you can listen it, you can speak it, you can read it, you can write it, you can understand it, but what you are thinking? You are thinking eha eka gacha. So, this is a tree, this the concept is understood by you through the medium of your own language, through the medium of mother tongue. So, mother tongue is the language through which we think. So, mother tongue is the language through which we will understand better. That is why Gandhiji suggested mother tongue to be the medium of instruction. Then the next is education through non-violence, and non-violence is a concept already we have discussed. It is tolerating all the differences. So, Gandhiji wanted to provide education through non-violence, means he wanted a classless classroom, where students will be treated as one, irrespective of their caste, color, creed, community and gender, they will be treated as one. No student will be deprived of his educational opportunities because of his caste or his class. Equal opportunity will be provided to all will be treated as one, no one will be ill treated by the teacher or the students. This is education through non-violence. The next one is correlation method. Here Gandhiji said, no subject will be treated as a airtight compartment. All subjects must have relationship among each other. No subject should be taught in discrete. Means what? Your knowledge in mathematics must help in your study in in science, or your study in science must help in study in geography. So, in this way subjects must be related among each other, and all the subjects must center around a basic craft. All subjects must have their own relation with the basic craft. So, this is correlation method. All subjects must be interrelated, and these subjects individually must have relationship with the craft. This again we will discuss in detail in the next class. Now, come to the seventh point, that is education for ideal citizenship. Remember students, education, the most important or central idea behind education was development of ideal citizenship, and ideal citizenship has certain basic characteristics. The students must develop consciousness about their rights, consciousness about their duties, what are their social responsibilities they have to perform, and they have to develop the respect and love for the nation, and along with that the students have to contribute their life for the development of the nation. These things, rights, duties, responsibilities, love for nation and sacrifice for the nation, these the attributes, these the characteristics must be developed among the students. This was the view of Gandhiji regarding education. We have discussed some of his educational philosophies here. Now, we will switch to the aims of education as suggested by Gandhiji to be fulfilled after getting education. Okay. So, we will discuss it under two heads, the immediate aim and the ultimate aim. Immediate aim is discussed by Gandhiji, it is suggested by Gandhiji again with two names, utilitarian aim and immediate aim itself. Utilitarian aim, as the name sounds, education system must have some utility, it must have the capacity to fulfill the basic needs of the students. It after getting education, the student must be able to earn his bread and butter, he must be able to manage his own stomach and his family. So, this aim is called by Gandhiji as bread and butter aim. The child will be able to earn his bread and butter after getting education. So, education must have the capacity to fulfill this aim, and by education or after getting education, one must be prepared for his future life. He must be able to manage his social, emotional, personal and his moral life. So, this is the utilitarian aim. Education must fulfill some utilitarian goal, and the immediate aim encompasses the cultural aim, in which Gandhiji said education must be capable of after getting after the completion of education, we should be able to revive the traditional Indian culture and tradition. The Indian culture and tradition must be revived by the system of education. This is the cultural aim. Another aim is all round development of personality of the students. We already have read that definition of Gandhiji in our first year class, that by education I mean an all round drawing out of the best in man and child, body, mind and spirit. So, Gandhiji here was of opinion that education must develop, must draw out all the talents in his body, mind and spirit. The 3 H, head, heart and hand, thinking, feeling and doing, in all these things one must be developed. So, social, moral, emotional, spiritual aspects of the individual child, individual student must be developed after getting education. Then character building, as you know, character is the greatest thing in our life, and remember that character is not a physical entity, it is not attached with the purity of body only, it is integration in your feeling, doing and thinking. So, by this, with a good character and with a full fledged development of your personality, you will lead a complete life, and a complete life every time is attached with a sense of satisfaction, and satisfaction differs from one person to other. So, Gandhiji was of opinion that according to one's own will, own desire, according to one's own construct, all must be satisfied in their life after getting education. Then citizenship training must be the aim. Here the sense of duties, sense of rights, sense of social responsibilities must be developed among the students after getting education. Then dignity of labor, already we have discussed, students must love and respect their duty, their work, and they should not treat any work as superior or inferior to the other. So, this constitutes the dignity of labor. This sense must be developed in the child after getting education. He will be involved in some work and he will be honest, punctual and sincere in performing his duty. So, this sense must be developed after getting education. This constitutes the immediate aim of education. The last one is, but what is the final? These things the student will achieve after completion of his education only, but after formal education finally what? The ultimate aim of life is realization of self, to know who am I. Every time man is of a question, ko aham, who am I? When you will get the answer to this ko aham, who am I, that is the final goal of your life, that is the final ultimate achievement of your life. So, self realization, knowing that who am I am the part and parcel of the super soul, my soul is the part and parcel of the super soul, my Atman is the part and parcel of the super Atman, the Paramatman. That the realization will make you will enable you to love the entire humanity, because you will sense, you will realize that the Atman in me is equal to the Atman in you. So, you will love all, you will believe in God fatherhood and man brotherhood. You will realize, you will actualize, you will understand that God is dwelling in you, in me and in somebody else. This will constitute the concept, the sense of self realization, realizing or understanding who am I. This is the ultimate aim of education according to Gandhiji. with this we will close this concept aims of education. So, today we have discussed the life philosophy of Gandhiji, then the educational philosophy of Gandhiji, then aims of education as suggested by Gandhiji under utilitarian aim, immediate aim and ultimate aim. Now, in the next class we will discuss how these educational philosophies and these aims of education are reflected in basic education, the greatest contribution of Gandhiji to the field of education. Okay. See you in the next class. Thank you.